All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to the More Than Numbers podcast, where the numbers are just the beginning. I'm your host, Bryce Follensby, joined by the one and only, one of the main Arsenal fans that I've ever met in my life from day one, my boy, Kevin Rockwell. Kevin, I'm super excited to have you joining the pod as my co-host this time. We are going to start with the Gunners and Arsenal. So, Kevin, my question to you is, was getting the win against Brighton, was that big? Was it expected?
It was
Give me your
big.
thoughts
It
on the win
was
against Brighton.
it was big. Brighton tends to be our bogey team, especially in recent years, where they give us issues. And under De Zerbi, it's been worse. I think last year they crushed us near the end of the season when we were pushing to win the title. I think they came to our house and beat us like 4-2, something. They beat us well, handily, outplayed us. Wasn't good. So getting the win versus them was huge, especially because we have Liverpool next. So if we would have lost this game, Liverpool would have went, I believe, at least 1 point clear of us. And it just wouldn't have been good. So it was a commanding performance. It wasn't nervy. I think Brighton had like 2 shots on target, if that was very low. And we look comfortable. We should have scored. If Martin Odegaard could shoot a ball, we
I was gonna
probably
say,
would
man, I'm
we
like,
probably would have won 5-0.
yeah.
Um,
He's been struggling
yeah.
this year. He has not hit the form that he really has of last year. And not only really his goals and assists, but truthfully, the games that I've seen Arsenal play is his impact.
Yeah,
Even
I,
against
I think I think with Martin, he's struggling to find where he fits with Rice in there. He and Rice are still finding their rhythm.
Mhm.
Um, And I mean, it's not bad though. Like that's the thing is like he hasn't played bad. He just hasn't played, as you said, to the heights that he did in the past. And I would
Do you
say the
think?
biggest thing, the biggest problem that I have with him right now is his shooting. Is there was numerous times in that game where it's like it's cool if you want to hit it across the goalie to the near post, whatever, but it's wet outside. You're in England. It's wet. Kick the ball on the ground. Make the
Mhm.
make the keeper work. All of his shots were in the air, comfortable area for the keeper to save, and yeah. But beyond that, I thought we played really well. I thought we
I mean,
played really really
do you
well.
think Odegaard's performance has more so to do with not Rice situation playing in the midfield, but more Kai Havertz, right? Because from didn't
Uh,
Havertz start? Because Havertz hasn't been starting as a forward; he's been starting as
he starts as a so
he
he
starts in the
starts
mid,
a
right?
part
So
of the midfield three.
Isn't it
Yeah,
Rice, Havertz, and Odegaard?
and Odegaard. Yeah, I
Because to me,
I
I
do
would
think Kai Havertz is an issue. I
right.
definitely think he's an issue. I don't think he's really what we need in a starter. I think he's great off the bench. I think that's probably his best position. But um, I don't. I think it would be giving Odegaard too big of an excuse for lack of performance, saying it's because of Kai Havertz. Because Kai Havertz doesn't really occupy the spaces that Odegaard wants to occupy. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like Havertz is essentially invisible in my eyes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like
mean they don't. They obviously don't typically use him too much, in the build up, and obviously they want to find Odegaard through the middle to be more creative. But what is interesting to me is like I would think that Odegaard's lack of like really taking games over probably has more to do with an offensive player, not in the same position, but an offensive player more than the D mid, as in Declan Rice, right? So to me, I would think even though Havertz may not be taking
well,
up the same
this
space, like
is
is Arteta telling him something different? Especially with Kai Havertz maybe picking up, they're not picking up the same space, but maybe what he's asking to happen is that affecting Odegaard being able to really kind of control
it
games.
could be. I mean, we'll never know. We're not in the locker room. From what I've seen in the games, I Declan tends to play a lot further, start a lot further back in the buildup
Mm,
to
mm,
essentially take the ball off of Saliba or Gabriel.
right.
Um, and Thomas Partey would start a little higher up, right? So Partey would get the ball further up the field and connect more with Odegaard than I feel like Rice and Odegaard connect, you know?
Mm,
So I believe that's what's going on, but also I just think Odegaard's not performing, you know? He does better when Zinchenko's in the team and he can go over there with Zinchenko and play because Zinchenko tucks in. But in big games, Zinchenko defensively can be a liability, so we can't play him. You know what I mean? Like it's been difficult to play him and have the defensive stability that we would want.
right.
Um, so I don't know. I think that's a big issue for Arsenal going forward. Will Odegaard start to perform to those levels? But again, it it's an issue from an Arsenal perspective, but we're still top of the league and doing well enough to be there. So I don't think it's a game changer. It's just in the Brighton game, it was annoying as hell because it was like, dude, if you could shoot a
Yeah, it was
ball,
just he had multiple
yeah, it
chances and
was
he put
like,
the game out of sight earlier. Right. I mean, Brighton had
yeah,
stayed in it up until the really the Kai Havertz goal. And even the
yeah,
Kai Havertz goal, talk about I mean, really better to be lucky than good because that finish was I mean, I think you and I were both strikers.
right.
I think that luck was that luck, excuse me, that shot was really kind of pure luck. I don't think he really meant to hit it where he hit it. If you saw how he went to shoot it, it looked like he was trying to almost chip it over, maybe with a little bit more pace. Got lucky somehow in the miss hit that it went like almost to the hip of the goalie or something into the space, but I really don't think he meant to do it. Now, that's not a bad thing because even when you like the confidence level that gives you with the miss hit still going in, I that's the one good news for Arsenal is I'll say Kai Havertz has what like through 4 or 5 goals now.
He has four in the last five, or some stat like that. I think he has five total goals, and four in the Prem. Or it might be six total
I
and
know you
four.
got to take. I mean, if you really think about it, that goal from him really puts the game out of sight.
Yeah, yeah.
Although
It's
he's scored. This is what a lot of people I've been hearing is that Kai Havertz, for all of his faults, will score some goals at the right time, and he's
yeah,
done
yeah.
that on 2 or 3 occasions for you guys now. I think what was the Declan Rice like one that
Luton
he
goal.
won it a couple weeks back? Was it a
Yep,
week and a half ago against Luton? Kai Havertz got the tying goal, correct? Like the third goal,
yep.
which
He got the
obviously
3-3.
allowed you guys to still push forward. So I think Arteta's got really lucky that he's essentially
I
starting to score.
yeah. I think. I mean, look. I don't think Kai Havertz is a great player by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think he tends to be in the right places. He can sniff out a goal. You know what I mean? Like he's
Right.
essentially Xhaka without the build up play, right? So and probably better finishing.
I
But
mean, I
last
was gonna say
season
is like I feel like I feel like Jocko is way more of an 8, like a box to box, where
he
Havertz
was
really isn't that.
but the similarities are Xhaka last season got us, I believe, 6 goals in the league, right?
Mhm.
So he would pop up and give us big goals and in that title push. And Kai Havertz has essentially come in and kind of filled that 5-6 goal contribution and then also had a few assists, like the Martinelli goal against City. He assisted that goal. So um again, he's not spectacular, but he seems to be doing the business now. I think Arteta got it wrong with trying to start him out of the gate, and
Mhm.
obviously, there's a lot of pressure to do that. I think the man's on like 335K a week, so it's like if you're paying
Still
that
not
much
more than
money for,
United's players.
yeah,
It's just
yeah, yeah,
somehow
we'll get
still
to
not
that.
more.
We'll get to
Just
that.
wild, dude.
But yeah, I think when you're paying somebody that much money, the especially as the manager who approved all of it and really wanted to go
Right.
for that guy, you feel obligated to try him out. I think the best way would have been to ease him into the team, which he eventually did. Is like, okay, he's having bad performance after bad performance.
Right.
I'm gonna pull him off, throw Trossard in there. Trossard did awesome. And then integrate him back into the team, bring him
Right.
off the bench. He makes an impact. And so he's grown into the team. Again, I don't think I don't think he's a player that's going to win you a league or anything like that, but I do think he's become a piece that isn't bad, but I guess
It's
I guess
it's
last
it's
from
only
him.
relative. See, and it's only relative because of his price tag. And I get
Yeah.
you obviously can throw in a little bit about what he's making a week, but realistically, it's more so to do with this price tag and what he bought him for. Because I don't think we're really sitting here saying anything if they had bought Havertz for 40 mil. It's the fact that they
No.
bought him for 80. But you brought up an interesting point to me, and I know we're going to get on United later. But just
Right.
something that's interesting to me on that is I think that's where United and Arsenal are just I mean, we know we're at different stages,
Right.
but the point where you said is that Havertz was playing bad and a team that was still winning, so you were able to hide him a little bit different, or it didn't. Although he was getting a lot of shtick,
Right.
it did not. It was not as bad as it could have been. The team's still performing. He's in a good team. You pull him out a little bit, the team still performs. He can get back into a good side. Can he nick some stuff in there that gives him confidence? The team's winning, right?
Yeah.
That's like the total opposite of United right now, where every player who's not scoring or not performing, it's just like, yeah, but we need you to, right? So that was just a really interesting one for me um, to hear, and just another like eye-opening moment of how far back United really is, because I would be thinking of United in the past where all these young kids could come in or new signings could come in. The team's already there or developed, and now they have a chance to either put a few games together. Maybe they don't fully perform. They're out of the team. They can get back into it, and it's not as
And that's I
evident,
mean, that's a
because you
good
needed them straight away.
I
So
mean, I think that is the stark difference between the two clubs right now is that Arsenal took the time to develop these young players, which you actually have to credit a lot to Unai, who's at Villa now and killing it.
mhm.
Because he's the one that gave Martinelli and Saka their starts. So
Oh wow.
those two guys, along
So
with
is
the
Arteta.
Odegaard buy,
So is Arteta
what?
really more of the byproduct of being lucky
No,
after?
no, 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 no. Because no, 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 no. There's definitely some good force in there, but it's not like because he made a lot of key signings. But I think that's the point is like Arteta bought a lot of young, promising talent that would listen to what he said
Right.
and buy into his program. And so then when he goes out and buys a Kai Havertz, if it doesn't work, it no longer matters because the team still plays the way that he wants to, regardless of, essentially for a while there, a pretty bad player. Like
Right.
you would watch those
He
games
has
and,
he has the
and
cushion to adjust to. Yeah, he has the cushion
yeah,
to
yeah,
adjust to it. Where and that's the thing that again we'll get into it in a bit. But that's the thing where like when you're looking at Ten Hag in
right,
his second year of signings, and you go back to his full signing list, it starts to look worse and worse. Whereas I know you and me had conversations about his original signings, and they weren't as bad as it looked. And then now that you compare them to what it is now, especially with the Hoyland signing and Mount signing this summer, I mean, you look at it and it's like, oh boy, your track record's not looking too good here. And you
right.
have, when you're trying to rebuild a team, you can't miss on these $90 million players. You just
Oh
can't.
no,
You
no,
know what
no,
I'm
no.
saying? Which
Yeah.
that's what's a good point to me to go into is like, it's like if you're going to spend 90 to $100 million on a player, you want a player like Declan Rice. I mean,
Oh
look
yeah.
at look at that
I
impact.
mean, I mean,
That's a
there's
$100 million player.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's shocking to me that you're hearing even guys like, and I know that I might get pushback on this, but like Ivan Toney for Brentford, hearing that he's going to get, or supposedly the market value for him is somewhere upwards of like 70, 80 mil, and they may even be
yeah.
asking for 100 mil. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, I understand that he's scored, upwards of 15, 20 goals a season, and it's been for Brentford. And
Mm,
he's done it for 2 seasons, and I think his goal tally went up every year, 2 or 3 seasons.
yeah.
I totally get that, but you're not. I don't know why, but there's no part of me that's like a player coming from there is worth 100 mil. Like I can't
Well, and
I
this is
can't
this
see
is
it.
this is this is
It
the
doesn't
issue.
matter
Is
if he's
like
putting in goals.
I think I mean I understand it on paper in terms of okay, he scored 20 goals here, he can do it at Arsenal or he can do it at a big club. But The big thing that stands out to me of why it doesn't make sense is because he hasn't done it yet, right? So it's like, had he gone to from Brentford, and I think we also spoke about this, a few weeks back, where it's like, had he gone to Brentford to an Aston Villa or a team that's like contending for the top six in
Mhm.
Europe, all that stuff, and done something similar, then it's like, okay, I justify you for that 80, 90, 100 mil, like even if he went to Tottenham and did it, was good
Right.
luck with that. Um, but I think from Brentford to Arsenal is too big of a leap to be like, okay, here's 100 million. And I also don't think it's smart money for Arsenal in January. And that's hard for me to say because I want a striker. I've never
Well, I mean,
been the guy to be like
if Nketiah goes, you guys, I mean, you realistically have to buy. So let me put it to you this way: if you sold, what's the rumor for Nketiah right now? 30 or 40 mil.
40. Yeah.
So if you sold Nketiah, I don't think you should get 40 mil for Nketiah. That's a joke to me. Let's say you get 30 mil for Nketiah, right? And that
Yeah.
partially pays for, it's not in exchange, but if that pays for Ivan Toney, so now what you're really looking at it, okay, I sold a player for 30, Ivan
Right.
Toney's bought for 80. Really, we bought
Right.
him for 30. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I would look at it instead of really saying I bought him for 80. It'd be different
Well,
if you kept
this is
Nketiah,
the
you
issue.
hadn't sold any strikers. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so this is what I would say. I would say as much as I think we do need to upgrade on Nketiah, I don't think goals are what will stop us from winning the league. Um, I think the biggest reason why we're in pole position to win the league this year is because we're the best defensive team in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the priority should be to buy a young, bright center back, or even an experienced center back
Well, who do you want him
for
to replace though? Because I think you have
no,
one
not
of the best
no
center back pairings
replacing. This is the
in the
thing is
league.
I don't want a replacement. The reason why we lost the league last year, in my opinion, is Thomas Partey got injured and
Mm-hmm.
William Saliba got injured. Those were the two reasons for me why we lost the league. It had nothing to do with scoring goals. It had to do with we would score goals and then we defensively couldn't see out games, right? Because
Okay.
we had to
So you're
play.
so essentially so
Um,
you're saying January you want to spend on a
I
backup
want
center.
Douglas Luiz. I want to grab Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa and put him in there for like one cover for Declan Rice. So God forbid Declan Rice gets injured, he can step in there. And of course he's not Declan Rice, but he's very, 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 very good at all aspects of that same position.
Can he
Right?
play if he can he play the 8? So do you think he could play
Yes.
with Rice, Douglas
Yeah.
Luiz and Odegaard? Do you think he would drop Havertz though?
I think he could. And also the interesting thing is I think that he can play all of those positions, right? So I think the reason why we lost to Aston Villa is because Odegaard is too soft, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
he's he's an amazing player. I love Odegaard. He's great. But when it comes to okay, I really want to keep a clean sheet, but I still want to have the option of creating goals. We don't have someone like that, right? So we don't have a 10, 8, whatever, somebody who's going to come on and create, like, give you chance after chance after chance, and also give you that defensive, hard man work rate. And
Okay.
Douglas Luiz can do that. So in
So
games
you
where it's like, okay, we need to see out games, but we still
right.
want to be an offensive threat, Douglas Luiz would be a great signing. So I think we need we need cover for Declan Rice.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Partey's
we
not in
need
cover. Is Partey
Partey's
not covered?
injured. He's injured. He's always injured. Partey is
Mm-hmm.
injured 60% of every season that he's played for Arsenal, which means
You
he's
can't. I mean,
awesome when he's in.
right, but you can't rely on it. You can't
You
build off
can't
of
rely.
it. You can't expect him to be there. Really, we can't week
Exactly.
out.
It's like Rafa Varane.
Oh, Jesus. And then look, I mean, look, he steps in, buddy. Oh my God, we'll get into that because he steps in and they're able to get
Plays
a
he
shutout.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look at the difference with without people. People are going to say they're going to say what they want to say. But I mean, to me, it's like, look at the difference without Maguire.
Yeah, bro. I
You
mean,
know,
the player of the month though, craziness, crazy.
yeah, Ten Hag got manager of the month for winning 1-0 against three
Yeah,
bottom
bro.
three teams. Like, come on. You know, it's
Yeah.
such ridiculous.
But
So,
yeah,
okay.
I think for that's what I would want in January. I would priority. I would want a D mid
Yeah.
for if Declan Rice got hurt, and then a center back to give Saliba and Gabriel rest so that we don't overwork them, so they're fit and ready to go at the end of the season when it
To push
matters.
through. Right. Right.
Exactly.
Right. I got you. I mean, I think if Declan Rice goes down, you guys don't win the league, you know?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I think either one. I think if Saliba goes down again, we don't
right.
win. I think
Right.
if Declan Rice goes down again, we don't win.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just how many didn't we do like a math like a couple weeks back on how many points Declan Rice has already won you guys? Like he got the tie
Yeah, it
against
was like something like
United. He
9 points.
gets the win against Luton. I think he scored another tying goal. So I mean, he saved you like 4 or 5
And he
points
did goal
already.
line clearance. Yeah, yeah, goal
Yeah.
line
I
clearance.
mean, he's arguably, you know, I don't know what the who's in the lead for goals this year, but I mean, arguably you can be looking at Declan Rice as player of the season. Um,
Yeah, man.
in the Premier League realistically. So
Yeah,
this brings me to an interesting point though, because I know we had just talked about, you know, if a few guys for Arsenal go down, you know, injury wise, can there goes the league for you. So I would say right now you guys are top of the league, right? You're 1 point clear of Liverpool. But I do want to
Hmm.
ask this really quick: is
Go for it.
do you trust your Gunners to actually hold out on the title race this year and win it?
Like I said, if our defensive spine can
No, no,
stay.
just give me a yes or a no. Let's hear this
Yes,
faith in
yes,
your
yes, yes.
team. There,
If we have
you heard
Declan,
it here
if we
first.
have
You
Declan and we have Saliba, we win the league.
no, see,
That's
there's
as
all these
far as I
buts
can
in
go. That's
here.
as
There's all
far
these
as I
but.
can go. I can't.
He does not trust you, Arsenal.
I
Listen to this.
trust you.
The
I
main
do
Arsenal
trust you.
fan does not trust
I
Arsenal
do
without
trust
one or
you.
two.
I'm just a logical guy. I'm a logical guy. Ask me if I think I can breathe without my lungs and my heart, and I'm gonna tell you, I really wish that I could, but I
But I
can't.
can't. Yeah. You're like, I can last for, 30 seconds maybe, and then
Yeah.
obviously I'm dead. Okay. That was a fun one. That'll do it from us here. So everybody appreciate you tuning in and listening. Feel free to drop a like or comment. We actually really appreciate it when you drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts on all of the points that we hit today. Manchester United, Arsenal, we touched on City, and we ended there on Aston Villa. So let us know your thoughts. Anything that you agree or disagree with, definitely let us know. And until next time, everybody, we will see you later. So thanks for joining.